The sun was beginning its descent when Detective Abelard Abel Shaw stepped onto the cobbled streets of York. The quaint, picturesque town was nestled on Maine's rugged coast, where salty air whispered tales of colonial seafarers and held the faint scent of ripe blueberries from nearby fields. Abel was an archaic sculpture of a man, his face chiseled with the marks of time, his eyes cloaked in a serenity that danced on the precipice of desolation. He walked with a restrained purpose, his stern gaze subtly softening as he took in York's humble beauty. He had come seeking the simplicity of financial misdemeanors, but found himself on the threshold of a puzzle far more complex. The root of this mystery lay nestled within the shadow of an ancient family crypt, a granite monolith harboring secrets beneath a veneer of ivy and decay. In the heart of York, he found himself standing before an old dusty tavern, the Herring's Haven, a local institution. The gloaming sun painted the establishment in warm hues, making it seem more welcoming than its reputation suggested. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside, his entrance drawing silent attention from the weather-beaten faces within. "Gentlemen," he acknowledged with a gentle nod, his baritone voice soft yet resolute, the rhythm of his speech matching the slow tick of the grandfather clock in the corner. An older man with a wind-chapped face and grizzled beard, known to all as Old Pete, motioned him over to the bar, pouring him a glass of the local brew. "You're here about the Eastwood business, I reckon?" Pete inquired, his voice carrying a brittle timbre, his eyes reflecting caution, but curiosity too. Abel nodded. Word travels fast in a town like this. The dialogue between them flowed like a languid river, revealing the unease that had blanketed the town since the rumor of money laundering broke out. Whenever Abel probed about the Eastwood crypt, a silence would descend, faces would pale, and eyes would dart away, every expression a wordless testament to the town's buried fear. As he left the tavern, the fading echo of laughter from within struck a dissonant chord against the unease wrapped around his heart. He found himself standing at the precipice of a descent into the heart of York's secrets. The crypt, now bathed in an otherworldly glow from the moon, beckoned him from afar, an invitation that whispered of labyrinthine mysteries yet to unfold. As the cool night air settled, he sat alone in his sparse motel room, sifting through his findings. His hands, weathered and strong, paused over an old photograph of his estranged daughter, Mary Ann. His heart ached, a stark contrast to the hard, uncompromising truths his investigation was beginning to uncover. Yet it also sparked a stubborn flicker of optimism within him, a promise of rekindling the lost flame of their relationship. With that glimmer of hope nestled within his heart and the daunting task of uncovering York's shadows ahead, he looked out into the night, where the crypt loomed ominously, a silent player on the stage of the cosmic drama about to unfold. Tomorrow, he decided, would be the day he dared to lift the veil of the Eastwood enigma. Under the inscrutable gaze of the morning sun, Detective Abel Shaw made his way towards the Eastwood crypt. His heart thumped rhythmically, like a metronome ticking away the seconds before a symphony's first note. The crypt stood cold and foreboding, an echo of antiquity amidst the vibrant greenery, evoking a chilling reminder of death's enduring presence. Unearthing the intricate secrets of the Eastwoods required a journey through a maze of dusty, forgotten documents and diaries housed in the town's antiquated library. His pursuit of truth morphed into an excavation of the past, his hands brushing against century-old parchment, every line of text a stepping stone into the realm of the macabre. Miss Judith, the elderly librarian with eyes as sharp as her mind, was a fountain of knowledge. Her voice, though brittle with age, flowed with stories of the Eastwoods, tales of extravagance, influence, and a disturbing interest in peculiar religious practices. Her recounting, though laden with dread, was sprinkled with doubt, as if the truth was too monstrous to fully accept. "Mr. Shaw," she said, her tone drenched in melancholy, "the Eastwoods, they were worshipped and feared. But the whispers, they're naught but legends, aren't they?" Abel, resolute and undeterred, merely smiled, his eyes reflecting the complexity of his mission. "Legends often bear the seed of truth, Miss Judith." Parallel to his investigation was the subplot of his relationship with Mary Ann. While delving into the cryptic world of the Eastwoods, he was also navigating the labyrinth of his fractured relationship. He penned a heartfelt letter to Marianne, his words laced with the regret of the past and the hope for a repaired bond. With each written confession, he felt an odd sense of liberation, as if slowly shedding the weight of his past misgivings. As the day waned into dusk, he made his way to the crypt once more. This time, with the knowledge of the Eastwood's dark history, the crypt seemed less a structure and more a grotesque monument to the family's unholy deeds. The sun's dying light cast long, crawling shadows, turning the crypt into a twisted mirage of dark secrets and unspoken horror. In the crypt's haunting silence, he found evidence of recent activity: freshly disturbed dust, an oil lamp that smelled faintly of recent use, and, most alarmingly, an old golden coin, a peculiar Eastwood family heirloom, said to be used in their rituals. The revelation sent a cold shiver down his spine, his mind swirling with the possibilities. He was no longer investigating a bygone family's financial fraud. He was tiptoeing around a sinister cult with roots dug deep into York's heart. The cosmic dance had started, and he was in its center, grappling with the Eastwood enigma and its implications. Little did he know, the dance would soon pull him into its darkest rhythm, towards an unholy union of flesh and faith. Moonlight streamed through the archaic stained glass of the crypt, casting a mosaic of shadows on the cold stone. The crypt, a sentinel of silence, now stood as a grotesque testament to the Eastwood's macabre legacy. Abel, his heart reverberating with a mix of dread and determination, stepped into the labyrinthine catacombs. The crypt was a leviathan of stone and darkness, its chambers blooming into a grotesque garden of ancient rituals. There, hidden behind a deceptive wall, he discovered a secret shrine. The air was dense with stale incense and an iron tang that quickened his pulse, the unmistakable scent of fresh blood. This was no relic of a bygone era, but a thriving, pulsating hub of the cult's existence. He found himself surrounded by chilling evidence of the cannibalistic sacraments: discarded bones, ominously clean and polished, the stench of decay masked by heavy exotic perfumes, and an altar stained with fresh blood sent waves of revulsion through him. The crypt was a living, breathing monster, feeding on the cult's sacrilege and the town's silent terror. And in its heart, he was forced to confront a reality far removed from any detective's worst nightmares. Throughout the town, as he dug deeper, he found more unsettling truths. Esteemed members of York, men of cloth, businessmen, town elders, were not mere spectators to the horror, but the puppeteers orchestrating the macabre ballet beneath the crypt. Each friendly smile in daylight was a mask hiding a monster in moonlight, every handshake a pact with the unspeakable. As he wrestled with these horrific revelations, he received a response from Marianne. Her words were cautious, yet hopeful, a tender sapling of reconciliation sprouting amidst the scorched earth of their past. His heart pounded with a fierce blend of joy and terror, the stakes of his investigation now extending beyond his life alone. In the shadow of this damning truth, he found himself a prisoner of dread. The mundane and the monstrous coiled around each other, the boundary blurred and distorted. Yet a seed of resolve was sown in his heart, fueled by his will to protect her from the corrupt roots of York and the hellish specter of the Eastwoods. As he delved deeper, his eyes saw beyond the facade of the crypt. His ears heard the sinister symphony of flesh and faith. He knew he was walking on a knife's edge, yet he had to press on, to illuminate the very heart of this darkness or perish in the attempt. The denouement dawned on Abel as he found himself cornered within the crypt's forsaken chambers. The pulsating heart of the Eastwood enigma lay bare, the cult's grotesque practices unmasked under the flickering lamplight. The air, thick with dread and malice, wrapped itself around him as he stared at his grim reflection in a pool of fresh crimson. Cult members emerged from the shadows, their faces familiar yet alien in the dim light, distorted by the gruesome sacrament they reveled in. His world blurred into a grotesque kaleidoscope of faces he'd greeted, laughed with, trusted, faces now twisted in a chilling tableau of bloodlust and devotion. Their leader, a figure he recognized as a pillar of York's community, loomed ahead, his eyes flickering with an unnatural zeal. Words tumbled out of his mouth, a perverse sermon that echoed through the crypt, each syllable a nail hammered into Abel's reality. But he was no lamb for slaughter. Fear fueled his will to survive, to expose the horror nesting in York's heart. He was a lone warrior trapped in a labyrinth, pitted against a monstrous force that threatened to swallow him whole. The confrontation was swift, brutal, a desperate dance in the crypt's belly. Through sheer will and a streak of luck, he managed to escape the crypt, his body bruised, his soul seared by the eldritch horror he'd faced. Back in his motel room, he was a shattered man staring into the abyss. His mind replayed the hellish revelations, each scene a splinter fracturing his sanity. He saw York through a fresh lens, a picturesque facade masking a malignant tumor. He was haunted by the knowledge of an abhorrent reality hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. Yet in the midst of the unending dread, a thread of hope remained. Marianne. His brush with the monstrous had cemented his resolve to mend their broken bond. Though the echo of the bloody sacrament of the Eastwoods tainted his optimism, his hope for a shared future with her radiated with a stronger light. Penning another letter to Marianne, he felt an odd sense of tranquility. His words were honest and raw, describing his longing for their reunion, his hope to shield her from the horrors of his world. He offered no specifics of the terror he'd encountered, but instead painted a picture of their potential reconciliation. Forever marked by his encounter with the cosmic horror, he was a man unraveled. York continued to bloom under the sun, its darkness concealed, its monstrous truth echoing in the heartbeat of the unsuspecting town. He was both an outsider and a guardian, carrying the weight of a dreadful secret, the knowledge of a hidden reality, and a flicker of hope for a new beginning with his estranged daughter. His life was now marked with a chilling reminder of the lurking abyss of the unknown, ever present beneath the facade of the mundane. A small beacon of hope kept him moving forward, even as the echoes of the Eastwood enigma whispered from the shadows. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.